Hello and welcome to the Faces of Africa Pocket Edition, where we dissect and discuss the topics covered in our weekly documentary show, which takes you through the continent's history, cultures, and major issues through exploring great personalities. This week on Faces of Africa podcast, we are taking you to South Africa, marking the New Year celebrations from that particular country in relation to some of the festivities they have there. The documentary this week is called Winelands, Minstrels. My name is Fathiya Mohammed Noor and I'm joined here by
Kimani Mungai.
Hi Kimani.
Hi Fathiya. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. How's the year started?
Good, and looking forward to 2025 and what's going to bring for me.
Yeah.
And also for the team, Faces of Africa team.
Of course.
Hoping for the best.
I agree. I think we have a lot of documentaries coming up this year. There are a lot of big events also happening, so we'll be covering a lot. But let's talk about this particular documentary. It's a very, very colorful documentary.
Yes.
This signifies Winelands Minstrels. First, it sounds like a word or a term that's pretty mouthful when you say it. It's heavy, right?
Correct.
Minstrels, yeah. But when you watch the documentary, it takes you to the Coon Carnival. This is in relation with back in history, when slaves were freed the first time, or they're freed and they have a specific day that they're off days. That's when they celebrate it, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. As you've mentioned, it's over 100-year-old culture that's been going on. Which first of all, the Wineland Minstrels. The documentary is in the title, whereby we see the winelands of South Africa, especially an area called Wellington, where they do wine farming, if I can call it wine farming, wine making.
Yeah.
It's along the southernmost African wine route. Which also has the Cape Town and all that.
Right.
So in these wine farms, they had slaves that worked there.
Mm-hmm.
So during this time, they had one time of the year where they'd get a free day, since their bosses or their masters were off on that day. So this one day in the year, they'd
celebrate,
come, yes, and celebrate together in form of songs.
Mm-hmm.
And this went on for a while, where now you had to, you are free on this day, you do anything, there's nobody to tell you do this, do that. And they had fun. Mm-hmm. And it coincided later when enslavement was abolished.
Yeah.
They made that day their day, which is New Year's. So every year for the past 100 and something years,
mm-hmm.
they've celebrated this in form of a street carnival.
Right. And interestingly, I mean, talking about it as a carnival, see, the name that they give it is the Coon Carnival.
Yes.
But if it goes back to history, the word coon actually is sort of derogatory.
Yes. In this case, it's used as a form of expression,
mm-hmm.
and which is also signified in the carnival, where you're expressing your freedom.
Yeah.
Despite it being only on this day, you can make fun, you can make jolly during this time.
Yeah.
So this has gone on over time.
When you look at the documentary, it's quite sad because most of them don't live in an area that is very favorable, right?
As you've mentioned, we've seen even in the wine region, they've had a long tradition, which
mm-hmm.
Thank God has been stopped.
Yeah.
Where payment,
yes,
or the wages of working on the farm, your weekly earnings,
mm-hmm.
are paid through tots. And by tots, I mean you're given these small amounts of alcohol to take as payment.
Yeah.
And sadly, what it has done to did to the community is you have a high fetal mortality rate,
right? Yes,
where
yes,
people are born with alcohol in their system.
Yeah, and that's really crazy. But even just what you've touched on, you see, as much as they are celebrating this day that they're free, the whole idea also is to sort of protect the community and the kids there from drug abuse, for instance, from substance abuse, and the actual situation that's there, that is poverty. this day is supposed to also free them mentally from such situations.
Yes, ironically, it's the same. As much as they were celebrating their freedom from their masters and then it went on, now we've seen one of the characters in the film called Nazim, an owner of a bus company who supports these troops or brings together all the troops around Wellington area for this one day to perform around the town and surrounding townships in a colorful procession.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, they start in August, rehearsing all the way to now the main day. But I think while watching the documentary, despite all those problems, you see how they're a community that love each other, a community that are united despite it all. And I think it's very timely to air such a documentary at the beginning of the year, just to show the importance of being unified and showing love with one another. And I think that's something the continent can embrace. Don't you think so?
I do. First of all, the procession is very colorful, and also the idea behind it, where you're giving these kids from impoverished homes structure.
Yeah,
you're giving them something to look forward to. Practice every Thursdays or Sundays, any given Sunday. You have them go practice with their fellow bandmates or troopmates. It creates a sense of community and structure, and creating a discipline or rules around it, that you can't be a part of the troop if you're abusing drugs, if you're indisciplined. And you've seen cases even in the film, people who've turned around their lives, from the old to the youngest. And they look forward to these troops despite the difficulties, life's difficulties that they're experiencing.
Right.
And it's very, very heartwarming. And as you mentioned, we need to embrace this as a continent and even world over.
For sure.
Sense of community is important.
Yeah, for sure. What a beautiful way to end the podcast. Thank you so much for making time, Kim.
Thank you, Fathiya. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to everyone who's listening.